Okay. High impact devices to crush the spores. What does crush mean? Crush means to push something very hard and destroy the shape of that, or break that into pieces. Crush the spores. Many spores survived these impact tests. Yet the ultraviolet light test results were different. Yet, what does that mean, yet? You use yet when you want to say something surprising after what you have just said. It is similar to but. But the ultraviolet test results were different. What is a result? Result is what you get in the end, okay? Something that happens because of another thing, okay? In one test, millions of spores were brought into space on a Russian spacecraft. Russian spacecraft. What is this? Spacecraft is a rocket or another vehicle with which you can travel to space, okay? When released in space without being attached to anything, they all died. When released, what does that mean, released? Release means to let something go, set something free. Released in a space without being attached to anything, they all died. However, when mixed with red sandstone and similar material that has been collected from meteoroids from Mars, some spores survived exposure to ultraviolet light. However, when mixed with red sandstone, what is sandstone? Sandstone is a rock with a lot of sand in it, okay? It's used in building houses or walls. And similar material, what does similar mean? Similar means having the same characteristic, okay? So the similar things are alike, but they are not exactly the same. That has been collected from meteoroids from Mars. What's Mars? Mars is a planet, okay? Of which order? It's the fourth, right? You got what? Mercury, okay? Venus, Earth, and then Mars, all right? And then what? Jupiter, okay? Saturn, okay? And so on. Some spores survived exposure to ultraviolet light. Exposure. Survived exposure. What is exposure? Exposure is uncovering something so that it can be affected by the surrounding. Okay? Exposure to ultraviolet light. Let's move on.
The main reason is that the spores were exposed only for a short time to ultraviolet light. That's not a definitive study, of course. The main reason is that the spores were exposed only for a short time. It would take a long, long amount of time for bacteria spores to reach another planet. I'm talking about tens of thousands or even millions of years. Still, the experiments offered the possibility that space spores could travel several light years and survive an impact on another world. Is that what happened on Earth? Well, we may never know the answer to that question. But it's something that we could consider a definite possibility, and that we should not simply dismiss as impossible.
Okay, what is this part about? This part is saying that this experiment is not definite. You can't call it definite. Why? Because the spores were exposed for only a short time. It would take a long time, sometimes a lot of light years for the bacteria to go to another planet. Okay? But this is still a possibility, and you can't ignore this possibility. That is what this part is talking about, all right? The main reason is that the spores were exposed only for a short time. The main reason is that, what does main mean? Main means more important than others in a situation, okay? It would take a long amount of time for bacteria spores to reach another planet. It would take a long amount of time. What is amount? Amount is how much there is, okay? For a bacteria spores to reach another planet, okay? What does reach mean? Reach means to get to somewhere, okay? I'm talking about tens of thousands or even millions of years. Tens of thousands. What does that mean? Tens of thousands mean like 20,000 or 30,000, but not 100,000 and not 10,000. Do you understand? Tens of thousands or even millions of years. Still, the experiments, what does still mean? Still means but. But the experiments offered the possibility that space spores could travel several light years and survive an impact on another world. Still, the experiments offered, what does offer mean? Offer means to give, all right? It's same as provide. You should know these words, all right? Offered the possibility that space spores could travel several light years and survive an impact on another world. What is a possibility? Possibility means like how much chance you have for something to happen, okay? Several light years. What's a light year? Light year is how long light can travel in 1 year. So how much can they travel? It's around 9.46, okay, trillion kilometers. Do you understand? What is trillion? How many zeros in a trillion? 12, right? What is this? This is 1,000. Okay. What is this? This is 1,000,000. And then what is this? This is 1,000,000,000. And what is this? This is 1,000,000,000. You understand? Okay, this is 1,000. Then what is this? This is 10,000. You understand? And then what is this? 100,000. And then million. Then what is this? This is 10 million. And what is this? 100 million. And then this is billion. Do you get that? And then 10 billion, 100 billion, and then a trillion. That's how you count. This is a large number. Is that what happened on Earth? Well, we may know the answer to that question. We may never know the answer to that question. But it's something that we could consider a definite possibility and that we should not simply dismiss as impossible. But it's something that we could consider. What is consider? Consider means think about something, alright? A definite possibility. What does definite mean? Definite means clear and firm and clear, right? Firm and clear. And that we should not simply dismiss as impossible. What does that mean? Dismiss. Dismiss means to decide to not consider that because it's not important. Okay? Decide not to consider something because it's not. We have decided that it's not important. Dismiss as impossible. So ignore as impossible. So this is the content of this passage. Let's move on to the questions. What is the main topic of the lecture? What's the main topic? It would be this passage is focused on what? First, it questions where did life on Earth come from, and then it kept talking about bacteria, how it came to Earth. So the topic would be bacteria, the possibility of bacteria surviving in outer space. This would be the answer. Look at A. How the Earth was populated by microbes from space. You can be confused with this option, but the main topic that he talked about was the bacteria, okay? Not how the Earth was populated by microbes. You get that? At first he questioned where did these life on Earth come from. Then he talked about mainly bacteria. You understand? How the Earth was populated. What does that mean, populated? If some area is populated by an animal or people, those people or animals live there, okay? And often in large numbers, okay? By microbes from space. C. An experiment in space conducted by the Swiss and Germans. There was a experiment by Swiss and Germans, right? But this was not conducted in space.